Brandon Nunez, your host on Between the Chalk Lines podcast, where it's all baseball talk on all the time. Um, just want everyone to remember that I am giving away a Michael McGreevy rookie card auto refactor from Topps Chrome number 236 out of 499. So go to the Between the Chalk Lines Instagram, look for the photo of this card, and do everything for the steps. Like it, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks. Um, Now, going on to this week's news. First week of September is always interesting, to say the least. Rosters expand on September 1st, so some, bright prospects might get called up, or just some veterans who are filling in a spot for teams. But as we always start off, we're going to look at the standings. And I want to look at the wild card standings as well. To start it off, American League East, the Blue Jays are ahead with an 81-59 record. The Yankees are just behind with a 78-62 record. The Red Sox are just behind the Yankees at 78-63. And then the Rays, we'll talk about them, are at the 71-69 record. And the Orioles have kind of come back from their terrible beginning, to say it mildly. 64-76 record. And then we go to the AL Central, where we have the Tigers, 81-60 record. The Royals right behind them, kind of, at 71-69. And then the Guardians at 69-70. And then we have the Twins, who have a 62-78 record, trying to stay out of last place, which won't be too hard because the White Sox are at 53-88. The AL West is very interesting. The Astros leading with a 77-64 record. The only team in the American League without 80-plus wins. I should say the only division. Mariners just a few games behind with a 73-67 record. And the Rangers at 72-69. And then the Angels can kind of fall off at 66-74. And finally, the Athletics have a 64-77 record. So the Athletics and Angels are trying to fight to stay out of last place there. They're the closest of all the teams for last and fourth in the AL. Moving to the NL, it's very, very different. The Phillies are first place in the East with an 81-59 record. The Mets have fallen off, but still have a respectable 75-65 record. And then you have the Marlins, who are the total opposite at 65-75. The Braves just below them, who I honestly thought were going to the playoffs because of the last couple of years, but injuries and just low production, are at 63 and 77. Then the Nationals are in last place with a 56 and 84 record. That is the second to worst record in the NL. The Central has probably the best race and the best two teams in the National League. I'll say it here. Best two teams. Brewers leading with 86 wins and 55 losses. That is the most wins in all of baseball. Probably the best splits in baseball as well. 46 wins home, 40 wins away. So it doesn't really matter if they're, home or in another stadium. They're probably going to win 61% of the time as of Friday the 5th. Then the Cubs are 81 and 60. 5 games back with the Brewers. It's, a whole month of baseball. Anything can happen. But I'm not going to say the Cubs will come back and overtake the Brewers. I think the Brewers kind of have that locked down. And then you have the Reds, where it falls off here in the Central, 70 and 70. Cardinals, 70 and 71. And the Pirates are 64 and 77. And here's the drum roll and shocker. The Dodgers are in first place with a 78 and 62 record. They do not have the most wins going into September, and I don't think they'll have the most wins at the end of the season. They'll make the playoffs, but they won't be the number one seed. Following that, the Padres are on a 2-8 skid in the last 10 games. Nestor Cortez got beat up the other day, but they are still only 2 games back of the Dodgers. So there's that 76 and 64 record. And then it falls off with the Giants, 71 and 69. D-backs are 70 and 71. And then the Rockies are last place with the worst record and have already lost more than 100 games with a 39 and 101 record on September 5th, before the game has even started for them. So we're 140 games into 162 regular season. I know I said that there's a whole month left, but it's really only about 19, 20 games for most teams before the playoffs start in October. But we're going to look at the wild card, especially in the American League. The AL East has Blue Jays, obviously, first place Then the Tigers are first place in the Central, and Astros first place in the West. But we have two other East teams in wild card, with the Yankees on top, Red Sox behind them, more or less tied, 78 and 62 and 78 and 63 record, respectively. And finally, the Mariners have a 73 and 67 record, which only is a 1.5 game gap between the Rangers and a 2 game gap between the Royals and the Rays. So, in theory, if either the Royals or the Rays go on a tear, both who are 71 and 69, and the Mariners start losing, they could potentially cause the AL wild card to be all AL East teams. And we would have 4 AL East teams going into October, all wild card 3 teams, and then the Blue Jays. Or, Yankees overtake Blue Jays drop the wild card. But you get the point. It could be very AL East heavy come end of September and beginning of October. And it's very different. We have the Brewers, Phillies, Dodgers, all leading divisions. Brewers more or less have theirs on lock. Cubs are in wild card leading, actually. And Padres and the Mets. We're not going to see like a ton of NL East or Central or West. It's one of each right now. And then the Giants, 4 games back of the Mets, which is a gap they could, potentially close. The Giants could make a leap over the Mets if the Mets don't pick it up. And the Giants are on a 4-game win streak going into today. And they play the Cardinals. And if we look back at the Cardinals, they're in second to last place with the 70 and 71 records. And the Giants have a 71 and 69 record. So, but they're 9-1 in the last 10 games. So, I mean, compared to the Cardinals 6-4 in the last 10, I'd take that bet over the Cardinals today if they, win. I'll say the Giants are going to take Friday's game and close that gap even more. But I want to talk about the Astros and the Yankees, who are probably both going to playoff baseball. Aaron Boone, the other night, when you rewatch this or listen to this podcast, in the 9th inning, after Taylor Trammell hit a double for the Astros, Aaron Boone, manager of the Yankees, asked the umpires to look at Trammell's bet. Nobody really had any idea why, but apparently, according to MLB regulation, his bat is illegal in the way of, a weird glove color might be distracting to a batter. A pitcher has a weird glove color, say like cyan blue or white and red laces. Um, his bat doesn't meet Major League Baseball regulations for a two-tone bat color. Um, so they've said it's illegal, but does not give him any competitive advantage. I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna say we're 8 years displaced from the trash cans. Trammell has played 44 games for the Astros at the major league level, and then played at Sugar Lake AAA. So he split time. I don't think Taylor Trammell, who played for the Yankees last year, there, um, is out there cheating intentionally. I think, using that bat for BP games, AAA, Major League, it's just wear and tear. Let's just throw it away. He's not trying to get an advantage on pitchers or whatever. He had a two-tone bat that started regulation, I think, and I hope. And I think hitting balls with this bat caused the finish to rub off. It's not a gloss finish, so the color just rubbed off and caused an unnatural, look to it. So, Aaron Boone, you do you. Taylor Trammell, I don't think you're cheating. So don't let this get to your head. It's totally mental. It's all mental. Aaron Boone saying that he's not accusing anyone of cheating. Of course not. He's not accusing a former player that he managed of cheating, even though it was only for 5 games last year. I just think it's kind of petty. That's the best way to put it. It's petty. So, shame on you, Aaron Boone, for being petty. Anyways, I wanted to get that off with the chest, because that just came up yesterday night and this morning. I want to talk about 2 teams. Fangraphs. If you don't go to fangraphs.com, as of today's projections and, basically just the projections for who will win World Series. I think I said Blue Jays and Dodgers World Series, and probably Dodgers win. Blue Jays have a 9.4% chance of winning as of the 5th today, Friday. And the Dodgers have a 16.6% chance. The only teams entirely knocked out of winning the World Series is are the Rockies, Pirates, Nationals, Athletics, Angels, even. Um, they actually have a. The Angels have a 0.1%. Remember, they're not out entirely, but projections purely 0.1% making the playoffs, but 0% chance of winning the World Series, which I entirely agree with. The Orioles have a 0% chance of winning the World Series, and that's it. So Orioles, Angels, Athletics, White Sox, Twins, even the Guardians are knocked out entirely. Marlins, Braves, Nationals, Reds, Cardinals, Pirates, Diamondbacks, Rockies. Fangraphs says no World Series for you. The Giants are hanging on to a 0.1% chance of winning the World Series, according to Fangraphs today, who I do love using for a lot of comparisons. We can look at graphs here. Just like everything. Fangraphs, sorry, I'm a fanboy. The Dodgers have been the favorite the entire year with as far as going to the playoffs, mind you. But the Brewers, as of today, have a 100% chance of going to the playoffs, whereas the Dodgers have a 99.4% chance of making it to the playoffs. So, Dodger fans, you're not entirely sick just yet. Still have 20 odd games. Actually, less because you started it off early. So, anyways, the other thing I wanted to look at is someone who is continually being left out of baseball's top current shortstops. And this might seem biased because I am an Angels fan, but if we go to Baseball Savant and look at Zach Darrow, shortstop, he is. Let's go look at his fielding. Batting. xWOBA, 77th percentile. Slugging, 87th percentile. Barrel percentage, 89th percentile. Sweet spot percentage, 78th. Base running value, 83rd percentile. And we'll look at his fielding and see who he's comped to. I want to see who his comparisons are real quick. Sorry about that. Should I have this ready? He throws this year about 85, almost 86 miles an hour from shortstop. Let's look at it. His OAA, or outs above average, doesn't look amazing on paper, but like lateral to third, 5 runs or 5 outs above average. Back every year, 1-1-1. Left-handed batter, he's even better against right-handed batters. Let's see 5-star outs. He makes a good amount of 5-star outs, like 15%. 5% chance of catching. I'll have to go in and see if I can just show you some videos. Zach Neto, don't sleep on him. Great shortstop. I believe as far as DRS, or defensive run saved, he's in the top. Sorry about my dog. It's not there. He's tied for second, I believe, from his start in 2022 to now, with like 20 plus DRS. Yes, here we go. So this is actually older, but as of June 6th, I believe it was, he had 18 runs saved as of the year prior, second most among all shortstops. So at 24, the kid's gonna be a stud and should be an all-star sooner or later. So just watch and invest on Zach Neto. All-star in the making. He's already had 2 2020 seasons. And he's going to have more. And that's it for Between the Chalk Lines. So, see you next time.